Just silence.
That's worse. Did you think about leaving?
I looked around and it seemed like that was the way marriages worked. It was tolerable, so I thought, better not rock the boat. And there was no reason for her to stay. She had left me in that way years ago. Yeah, I don't know why we're talking about all this stuff. What good does it do? Bad enough to go through it without reliving the whole damn thing.
I'm sorry.
You get rejected enough, you stop trying. And then you start doing the rejecting. The more she pulled away, the more I pulled away. When you get two people moving in opposite directions, things don't get better. You accept it or you don't. I mean, when she got sick, I thought about talking to her about the way things had been between us, you know, before she died. But I never did. I feel bad about that.
I know what that's like. Wishing you said something that you didn't. Always wondering about what would have happened if you spoke up. You talk about the war, things that still bother you, the thunder. But Willis wouldn't talk about it. Anyway, he'd been home about 3 years when he'd had an accident, I think. I never said this to anyone, but I've never been sure that it was an accident. One night he was out late, driving way too fast. See, he drove a Jeep in the war, and he used to driving as fast as he wanted. The police used to say, "Slow it down, Willis, you're not in the service anymore." Anyway, the roads were wet and slippery and, well, that was that. I think it was the only way he could get rid of those awful nightmares he brought home with him.
It was a heck of a thing, you know, when you think about it. You know, I mean, you're 18 or whatever, thinking about a girl or buying a car. The next thing you know, you have a gun in your hand and you're sitting somewhere halfway around the world. You look at the guy next to you and he doesn't know any more than you do.
All those boys. So many that I knew didn't come back. The Willis I knew didn't come back either. He said he didn't want to talk about what happened to him. I always thought that if I could have gotten him to talk more about anything, everything might have been different.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, the things you saw, the things you had to do, no one can take that out of your mind. You know, it was October when I got off the train, and I was standing at the station, still in my uniform, thinking, now what? And I looked up, and I saw the trees were filled with colors. I can't remember anything ever looking so good. I never thought I'd see this town again, you know. And to this day, every year on October 18, I ride past the train station and look up. Anyhow, as I started walking home, I kicked some leaves that had already fallen and thought, well, I guess that's what I do. I guess I start there. Been raking ever since. Now I'll tell you, a baby, a wife, and a roof over your head looks pretty damn nice from the bottom of a hole with shells landing all around you.
I guess we weren't enough for Willis. You and I both missed out, didn't we?
That must have been hard. You left alone with a little girl?
It was. But you just do it, don't you? Your husband dies or your daughter moves away or whatever happens. Get up the next morning and keep going.
You never married again, huh?
Well, of course I had office. But I couldn't get past Willis. And at the beginning, there wasn't time to think about anything else but my job and Nell. Then, later on, I couldn't do the compromising. Too used to having things my own way. Like you and traveling, I guess. Never found anyone else worth all the trouble it took to get there.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
Nell says I'm getting worse. I don't know about that. But the older I get, the more sure I am of what I like and what I don't like.
Helen said I was like that even when we were married.
I can see that.
So, you ever think of moving up here? To be near your daughter?
Crossed my mind. But then, I guess it's what my mother used to say. Amanda, she'd say, everybody in this world winds up living where they're loved the most. No matter how much or how little, as long as it's the most. For me, that's always been Johnson City. Nell was the only one who wasn't there. Of course, most of my family have passed on in the last few years.
Well, this town's not so bad.
Oh, I know, it's real nice. Nell loves it up here. But I'm not sure I'd fit in. Northerners aren't very good at making you feel welcome like they are down home.
Why, Amanda, you don't seem like you'd have any trouble getting along in a new place. Not like me. You seem to be right at home wherever you are.
I feel like they make fun of the way I talk.
Oh, to hell with them. I like the way you talk. You sound just fine when you talk. It's soft, your voice, and calming. That's what it is. Makes me feel calm.
Really?
Sure. I mean, the fact is, I bought 2 seats just behind the dugout.
Well, I don't know. I'll need to get back, but, well, it's not like I have a plane to catch.
You know, I was thinking about you driving all that way. That's too long a drive for you.
Doesn't bother me at all. I love driving. I always have.
Well, most women I know, Helen, for example, didn't... Let me see, I don't believe I ever rode with her. Of course, she drove places, but if we went together, I always drove.
First time I got behind the wheel of a car was my daddy's car. He wasn't around, and I sure wasn't old enough, but I'd been planning it for a long time. I jumped in and drove for miles and miles all the way to the next county. It was exhilarating. Had all the windows down, my hair flying. I can still feel like what it was like. When I got home, I was in so much trouble, but I didn't even care. My father was standing on the porch with a look in his eye, and I wound up in my room for a good 2 weeks. I didn't care. A ride like that is worth everything.
You have a nice car now.
Oh, there's a story. You won't believe this. I won it. I bought a lottery ticket. 1 ticket. The number was 10. A good number for me. My birthday is August 10th. And what do you know? They called me up and said I won a car. A beautiful blue car with a snow white roof. Well, that's when I started driving up here instead of flying.
You're a lucky person.
Sometimes.
So, what do you say? You want to see the game?
Let me think about it.
Yeah. All right. Come on, I'll show you those roses. Won't take long.